This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
But heaven he'll find Daft Punk. I want this to be in the style of techno, but heaven is but Daft Punk. Some big simulation. Now I know that we are all just digital information. A fake world for the taking. I'm looking at the news and it's kinda hard to watch it. The universe is way too big to have one God who made it. And even if he did, would you really want to meet him? Would you trust a God who's smart enough?
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know this, but let's share it anyways. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday, December the 16th of 2025, day 350th of the year, and only 15 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging and banging with our friends and colleagues over there.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Yep, we are sarcasm and everything else that you can combine inside of it. That is for sure. No doubt about that. So are you excited about Christmas? Because we're getting relatively close.
If it jingles or slays, you better believe it plays here. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, so our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's kind of what we go and do and all that kind of fun stuff, so don't worry about that. We'll talk about some of our stuff that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is the things that we do around here. So safety in the news is what we talk about. If you want to interact with the show, callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. We'll get you moving and grooving inside of everything that we have going on inside of our multiverse, but don't worry, we'll make sure to take care of you throughout. Outside of that, we talk about the news stories, we talk about safety, we interact with the show stuff, and then at the top of the hour, we go over to Radio Big. That's kind of the layout of the land. We bring in some professional broadcasters that they claim that they know what the hell they're talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. So you know how this goes. So that's it. That's kind of what our show consists of. Simple process. You can hear us. safetyfm.com, radiobig.fm, and then you can take a visual on the different social media platforms, or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on visual radio. Yes, visual radio. I know. Who makes up these terms? And that's it. That's kind of what we do. We kind of go about, we do our thing, we do our gigs, and then we vanish out. We disappear. We go away. We are no longer around. Yeah, that's kind of what we do. That's it. So if you're good with this, I'm good with it as well. I have some friends from Feature Story News that are dying to talk to you. Yeah, and I'm not over-exaggerating when I say that. They're dying to talk to you about the things that are going on inside of the world. So there you go. If you're good with it, I'm good with it. We'll go into the news right away because that seems like a good thing to do, not a batter-adder thing. So we can get that moving and grooving for you. And then we'll get into the highlights of stuff. Yeah, well, let's do that. Let's do all those things. Let's get that moving right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. The United States says it's agreed to give unspecified security guarantees to Ukraine after major progress was hailed at the latest round of Ukraine peace talks in Berlin. Ukraine is being urged to sign up because the US says the offer of security guarantees will not be on the table forever. President Zelensky said Ukrainian and US teams are preparing to hold another round of talks in the United States as early as this weekend. Ross Cullen reports.
The latest talks in Berlin appear to have gone so well that President Trump said a peace deal was closer than it's ever been, though Russia will have to be consulted on the updated peace plan. It includes confirmation that the US will work with Europe to draw up and provide robust security guarantees, including a European-led multinational force, which will see countries like France and the United Kingdom deploy troops inside Ukraine to support the country's armed forces. The US will monitor any ceasefire that is agreed and work on deconfliction measures. Also on Tuesday, the EU's top diplomat will travel to The Hague for a conference on establishing an international claims commission for crimes committed in Ukraine during Russia's war, which Volodymyr Zelensky is also expected to attend. Ross Cullen, Paris.
Donald Trump has filed a defamation lawsuit against the BBC, seeking $5 billion in damages. It's related to the selective editing of one of his speeches, which the BBC admits gave the mistaken impression he had made a direct call for violent action ahead of the storming of the US Capitol in 2021. The BBC has previously apologised, and the Director General and Head of News both stepped down over the edited speech that was shown in a Panorama documentary. Fraser Knight reports from outside BBC Broadcasting House in London.
This legal battle won't be an easy win for the president, who has a history, of course, of suing news organisations in the United States. First of all, he couldn't bring any civil action in the UK because it's been more than a year since the documentary was aired, so the time limit to bring a case here has passed. And what the president will have to do now is prove that someone in Florida watched the Panorama documentary and had their opinion of Mr. Trump changed as a result of it. The BBC has pointed out that the documentary was not actually broadcast in the United States, but the lawsuit, reading through the papers, says it was available on streaming service BritBox, and it also claims that people could have watched it using a VPN.
A father and son were likely driven by Islamic State ideology when they fired on Bondi Beach in one of Australia's deadliest mass shootings, according to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Australian police are looking into a trip to the Philippines last month taken by the two alleged gunmen and investigating the reasons behind their trip. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, hearing from the son of Jimmy Lai, the Hong Kong publisher who has now been convicted at a landmark trial in the city that followed the implementation of new national security laws there. Mr. Lai, until 5 years ago, the publisher of now defunct pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily, was found guilty on charges of endangering national security and conspiracy to publish seditious articles. Aged 78, he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in jail when he is sentenced next year. Mr. Lai is a dual citizen of Hong Kong and the UK. His son Sebastian is in London and leading the campaign to free his father.
The government alluded to guilt before even the start of the trial. There were allegations of witnesses being tortured. There's no jury. There's 3 government-appointed judges. So a really stacked deck. But I think what is surprising is the complete lack of evidence that they have. So they have 800 pages of essentially his journalism. That is the case against them. They've destroyed and weaponized their own legal system in order to target my father.
The Hong Kong government's security minister said Mr. Lai's trial had nothing to do with press freedoms and claimed the publisher had simply been using journalism as a pretext to destabilize the government. The British government called the prosecution politically motivated. Mr. Lai's family and his lawyers say his health has been deteriorating due to the harsh conditions of his confinement. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. The United States says it's agreed to give unspecified security guarantees to Ukraine. Donald Trump's filed a defamation lawsuit against the BBC, seeking $5 billion in damages. And a father and son were likely driven by Islamic State ideology when they fired on Bondi Beach in one of Australia's deadliest mass shootings. And that's the latest feature story news. William Denslow reporting.
What happens on your radio stays on your radio. Buckle up.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets. But Acorns
changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing our thing here on this lovely Rated R Safety Show on a Tuesday. So there you go. Let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the news, because that's kind of what we do around here. That's kind of our gig as we talk and do all of the things. Donald Trump is doubling down after igniting a backlash over comments that he made following the brutal murders of Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. After the couple was found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles mansion, the president posted on Truth Social that Reiner long-running vocal hatred for him is what called Trump derangement syndrome played a role in the circumstances surrounding his death. The post immediately set off outrage across Hollywood and even among the Republicans, who labeled the remarks disgusting and vile. Asked about it later in the Oval Office, the president didn't retreat. He flatly said that he was never a fan of Reiner, calling him deranged, accusing him of damaging his own career by obsessing over Trump, and blaming him for pushing Russia collusion narrative. The president said that Reiner was very bad for our country and showed no interest in softening his stance. Take a listen.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
Okay, so hold on. You're sitting there talking about somebody being deranged, and then you refer to yourself in the third person? Is that really what just happened?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking, because it's always a good time as we get to hang out and talk about all kinds of fun stuff, because there is no doubt about that. Take a listen to this one as we are doing our giggo. An Atlanta man is facing serious charges after police say that he shot two teenagers who were allegedly trying to steal packages from his porch. Authorities say that the homeowner, 34-year-old, fired a gun last week in Adamville neighborhood, hitting a 15-year-old in the foot and a 16-year-old in the arm. Both teens survived and are recovering. Neither has been charged with the crime, and their names were not released. Bradford has been charged, that's the person that did the shooting, just in case, was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault and 1 count of possessing a firearm during a commission of a felony. Police say that investigators believe the teens were attempting to steal delivered packages, noting that porch theft tends to spike during the holiday season. Georgia currently ranks 8th nationwide for reported porch pirate incidents. So here's my question. So how's that going to look in the long run? Not like serious. This is not a joke. So he shot someone for being on their property and trying to steal something, is what it sounds like. And so now he's being held accountable for the things that he allegedly did during that time. So it's going to be interesting, that's for sure, as we are talking. Okay, so let's continue talking. President Trump has dropped a legal nuke on
the BBC.
Trump said that he has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against a British broadcaster, accusing it of doctoring his words in a panorama documentary that aired just 1 week before the U.S. election. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in Florida that includes 2 claims of defamation and a violation of Florida trade practices, with Trump seeking $5 billion in damages for each count. At the center of the case is an edited clip of Trump, a second chance, that allegedly spliced together 2 separate parts of the speech to make it appear that Trump was inciting supporters to storm the Capitol in January 6th of 2021. His legal team says that the edit was fabricated, deceptive, malicious, and done deliberately to mislead viewers. And let's see, into the election against him. The complaint claims that the BBC ignored internal warnings about the edit before airing the episode and pushed it out anyways. Trump publicly blasted the network, saying that it put words in his mouth and suggesting that he may have used AI to manipulate the footage. So there you go. Duh. It's one of those weird ones for sure, as we are talking. Because, I mean, I don't know. How do you look at all this stuff? It gets weird right away, like always, because there's nothing else that ever happens. It's never like, oh, it's so easy. When things are going through, that's for sure. So when you take a look at this whole thing, how do you feel about it? Like, how does it make you feel? Do you feel warm and fuzzy, or do you kind of go, this whole thing kind of sucks? I mean, there's a level of this. There are levels to this game, as we are constantly talking. So there you go. I'll tell you, I have so many things going on about the Rob Reiner thing. I'm just not 100% sure. And how much time do we want to devote to the whole thing? We have some other things to talk about too, but there are some heavy news stories related to this. I mean, I will tell you as I'm looking through this right here. One, let me see. One right there. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 news stories just about the Rob Reiner thing. Not a joke. It's that important. That's on top of the ones that we've already talked about. That's the impact going on. Okay, so let's sit back for a moment and talk, because we are in this weird season of the year where, everybody's celebrating the holidays. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas. Thanksgiving's already passed. New Year's is right around the corner. And let's start talking about this, because people are going to want to care. People are going to want to do this and that and the other. So let's talk about it. The FDA has issued an urgent recall for several decorated pound cakes after discovering they contain potential life-threatening allergens that wasn't listed on the label. Virginia-based Europe Home Style Foods LLC is recalling 4 varieties of decorated pound cakes because they may contain undeclared soy, which was found in the cake releasing agents used to prevent the cakes from sticking. Soy can trigger serious reactions, including some allergies that people may have. So let's talk about what are the recalled items. An 8-inch pound cake with buttercream icing with pink roses, 8-inch pound cake with buttercream icing with red roses, 6-inch pound cake with buttercream icing with red roses, 6-inch pound cake with buttercream icing with confetti. The cakes were sold at 28 Kroger's in the Mid-Atlantic and Market Hall locations across Virginia and West Virginia, with the best buy date was December the 15th. And no Europe products are affected besides that. The UPC codes tied to the recall, I can tell you them, but I don't know if it's going to help you. It's 722-52591-452. Then another sequence of numbers ending in 1456. Same numbers again ending in 1820, and same numbers again ending in 1849. So far, no illness have been reported, but customers who bought the cakes are urged to return them for a full refund. Or if you don't want to do that shit, just toss the thing because, hey, we don't want you to get in some kind of weirdness because that's just kind of what happens from time to time. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. So talking about this food stuff, let's talk about some guy stuff real quick because it's always interesting. So you are aware that there is this weird thing that comes about that people talk about, that men think about sex all the time. You are aware of this. This is not something you have not unheard or you haven't heard before. But take a listen to this. A new survey shows that men think about food more than sex. Survey shows that hungers beat libido almost 2-to-1 when stress is high. Feed first, flirt later. What do you think? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Go to callinradio.com. Leave me a message there if you'd like for us to talk about some things that are going on for there. So, yeah, there you go. Callinradio.com. Do men think more about food or sex, in your opinion? Based on your experiences, what do you think? Okay, let's continue talking about some other things. Did you hear about this? Maker of the Roomba filed for bankruptcy. iRobot, the company behind the Roomba, has filed for bankruptcy protection and will go private after being purchased by Chinese manufacturer. The move comes after years of mounting pressure from cheaper foreign competitors, heavy debt, and rising costs tied to tariffs and failed attempt to merge with Amazon 2 years ago. The company's leadership says the restructuring is meant to stabilize the finances and keep the brand alive, calling it a pivotal milestone for Roomba's long-term future. Even if the robot that cleaned America's floor couldn't quite clean up out its own balance sheet, is what it sounds like. So the Roomba spent years cleaning crumbs and then tripped over tariffs, is what it sounds like when it's all said and done. I'll give you another one. The Roomba tried to merge with Amazon and still couldn't find a charging dock. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Got a question for you. Do you have a Roomba or a self-vacuuming item like that? I'm only asking the question because, listen, it's one of those weird things that if you have one of those and you have any kind of pets, it becomes interesting when it's all said and done on how it ends up all working out. Not a joke. Not a joke as I say that. It becomes weird as it's all said and done. Okay, so let's talk about a couple other things before we get too far into this. Cannabis stops ovarian cancer cells from surviving in a lab test. A new lab research suggests that cannabis-derived compounds that may have several potential agents against ovarian cancer. And at least in a petri dish, scientists in Thailand found that the CBD and THC killed ovarian cancer cells while largely sparing healthy ovarian cells. Unless much higher doses were used, the study tested the compounds of both drug-sensitive and drug-resistant ovarian cancer cells and had a major hurdle in treating the disease. The cannabinoids worked through multiple attack routes and they shut down cancer cells. Energy production stopped them from dividing, triggered programmed cell death, and blocked key survival signal tumors that they rely on. When the CBD and THC were combined, especially 1-to-1 ratio, the effect was stronger than either compound alone, a clear synergistic response. Researchers also found that the compound reduced cancer cells migration and invasion, two critical steps in metastasizing. Ovarian cancer remains one of the deadliest gynecological cancers, largely because of its diagnosed late, frequently becomes resistant to chemotherapy. And while these findings are promising, the researchers stress that they work in early stage of lab research only. So keep that in mind as you are thinking about this. So let's continue talking about some other things as we are talking. So should we talk about this? Because I don't think there's going to be a lot of weird stuff here. But Merriam-Webster has crowned slope as the 2025 word of the year. And yes, and it's ugly as it sounds. The dictionary says that slope perfectly captures the flood of low-quality digital junk clogging everyone's screens, especially content churned into bulk by AI. The mass-produced nonsense, minimal effort, maximum volume Merriam-Webster noticed that the big spike in people looking for the word AI slope became part of everyday internet vocabulary. The word won because it summed up the years in 4 letters. According to Merriam-Webster's president, it reflects how so much content was basically dumped on us nonstop, and the language caught up. Other words had big moments too. Dictionary.com picked 6-7 as the word of the year, calling it part meme, part vibe, part social signal. Cambridge went academic with parasocial. Inspired by a fan reaction of Taylor Swift's personal life, Oxford chose rage bait, pointing out the online discourse that has shifted from curiosity to outrage in farming. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. Let's go with something a little bit happier for a moment. I think it's happier. It could be happier. It might be happier. So let's talk about this one because some people are going to care. More than a decade after it first hit store shelves, a fan favorite Oreo flavor is making a comeback. Model S has announced the return of the cookie dough Oreo, originally launched in 2014. Revived version features cookie dough flavored cream stuffed with chocolate chips, sandwiches between 2 chocolate chip cookies, and the limited time treat arrives at retailers nationwide starting December the 22nd. The original cookie dough used Oreos like the classic chocolate wafer Oreos, while the new version upgrades the chocolate chip cookies on both sides. And that's just the beginning. Model S is rolling out a wave of new products, big, small, thin, soft, cake-like throughout late 2025 and early 2026. Here's what's coming up. Oreo muffins, cocoa muffins with Oreo-inspired flavors, Oreo casters confetti cake, birthday cake cream between the confetti, Oreo thins chocolate ganache, thin cookies filled with chocolate ganache-flavored cream, and Oreo minis, just to name a few. So there you go. Some stuff that is going on. And then Oreo Reese's cookies, peanut butter cream with Oreo crumbs between the classic. They'll become permanent starting the 5th of January. So I guess if you're into that kind of stuff, might be a good time to, well, number one, get your wallet going because it's going to be one of those weird ones. That is for sure is what it sounds like. Anyways, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. It is time to do that thing that we call our main story. So let's do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so some main story time as we are hanging out and doing what we do. So let's talk about some things that happen because it is kind of a weird time sometimes when certain things happen. But when everyone knows but no one says anything, it's kind of one of those weird moments in any part of life. And let's talk about something that everyone knows happens at work, but almost nobody wants to admit. And there's a problem in organizations that everyone knows about, not rumors, not speculations. I mean the stuff that people joke about quietly. There are things that get mentioned in the parking lot. There's issues that show up in the side conversations, but never make it into the meeting. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. Everybody knows, and yet nobody changes anything. And here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Most safety failures don't happen because nobody knew. They happen because everybody knew and learned not to say anything about them because saying something didn't help the last time or the time before that or the 5 times before that. So people just adjusted. Not the work, their expectations. Think about this as it usually plays out. Someone notices the shortcut becoming the normal way. Someone sees the place and then notices the pieces of equipment slowly getting worse. Someone realizes the procedures don't match the reality anymore, and they mention it at first, and the response usually is something like this. We'll look into it.
We'll look into it.
The next response.
That's not in the budget right now.
Next one.
Just be careful.
And the one after that.
That's how we're always done it, so that's what we're going to do.
So let's try that again. Same response. Eventually, they stop bringing it up, not because the issue went away, but because they learned the system doesn't respond. And here's where leadership often gets it wrong. They think that the silence means that things are fine, which that's not the case. Silence doesn't mean that things are safe. Silent means that things have adapted. It means that people have learned how to work around problems without involving management. It means risk has been absorbed at the worker level. It means that exposure has been normalized, and none of that shows up on a dashboard. I talk about this all the time. Then something happens, an injury, a serious close call, a system failure, and suddenly everyone is shocked. Like, oh my God, how did that happen? How did this happen? Why did anyone say anything? Why didn't we know? We had no idea this was an issue. And workers are standing there thinking, we did say something. You just didn't listen. This is not the first time you've heard a story similar to this. And let's be honest for a moment. Most organizations don't actually want bad news. They say they do. They put it on posters. They put posters up about it all the time. I mean, just take a look around. They talk about open doors and speaking up, but the reaction tells the real story. If the first response is to bad news is defensiveness, if questions turn into interrogations, and if the focus immediately goes to blame, compliance, or discipline, people learn very quickly what's safe to say and what isn't. I mean, just think about it. And no, this isn't about having more reporting systems. You can add all the apps, forms, and hotlines you want. If you believe reporting creates a hassle instead of help, they won't use them. I mean, just be realistic. If you notice that people are going, oh, this is such a pain in the ass to do this, they're not going to do shit. If they think that raising concerns makes them the person that they won't do it. That's the person that reported it. That's the person that brought it up. If the experience tells them that nothing changes, they'll adjust and move on. That's not laziness, that's survival. Here's a part that leaders rarely hear. When workers stop speaking up, they're not deranged. They're experienced. They're not disengaged. They're experienced. They figure out how systems really work. They know which issues are safe, which ones to raise, which ones to be ignored, and which ones will come back to bite them. That knowledge doesn't come from training. It comes from watching what happens to the last person who spoke up. So if you want to know how healthy your safety culture really is, don't ask. And even though you really shouldn't have a safety culture, it should just be part of the culture. Do people feel comfortable reporting? Ask this instead. What happened the last time someone told us something we didn't want to hear? Because the answer will tell you everything you need to know about your organization. Safety doesn't fail because people are careless. Duh. It fails because organizations slowly train people to stop trying. And once that happens, you don't lose safety all at once. You lose it quietly, gradually. One ignored issue at a time, until the only signal you hear is the sound of something that is going wrong. And that's the rated R truth for today, because safety isn't about policies on paper. It's about whether people believe in speaking up actually matters. And if it doesn't, the risk is already there.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners.
Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud, one of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking. Rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety Transmission, The Collapse of the Construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Our Christmas gift to you, all of your holiday favorites unwrapped right into your radio.
To build the planet, 'cause I'm smart enough to know there's a snake in the apple, and the smartest people here, they know it's a fake world. Fake world. You thought you were escaping a fake world. Fake world. It's like I'm stuck inside a video game and it's on repeat.
Okay, there you go. 46 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out here on this lovely Tuesday. We're talking about a simulated world here if you're taking a listen to this while you're hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. You ready? Here we go.
When you finally wake up, you're just in another dream.
Let's do it.
When you finally wake up, you're just in another dream.
It's a fake world. Okay, so there you go. A simulated world for you. That's what we're doing this morning, talking a little bit about everything going on inside of the multiverse. Oh, yes, little fake world action, no doubt about that. As we are hanging out, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. I'm going to tell you, you can go to the website. It can have a large impact on things going on inside of your world. No doubter outer there about that as we are talking. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on, because that's kind of what we do around here. Let me go ahead and do this, because I think that it's important for us to do. Why don't I go ahead and bring in my friend John Smalls? Let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute, because that seems to be like the right thing to do. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Seriously, let's do it.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Mac. An Irish proverb says, "You will never plow a field if you only turn it over in your mind." Excellent quote. I think it's a really good idea to visualize things, but if you only visualize them and don't actually do them, you're probably going to fall short of success. When I've had a big presentation to make or a big event to do, I'll often think about that moment for weeks in advance. As I'm trying to fall asleep, first I thank God for the opportunity and all of the blessings in my life. But then I imagine myself on that stage or in that meeting. I think about what will happen and how I can be prepared. It really works, but it only works if you actually go.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Investigators in Rhode Island have detained a person of interest after a deadly shooting on the Brown University campus during final exams.
Officials say 2 people were killed and 9 others wounded when gunfire erupted in an engineering and physics building during a review session. Police said the person now in custody is in their 30s and that they are not seeking additional suspects. University leaders canceled remaining classes and exams for the term. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Gunmen stormed a Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach, leaving a crowded beachfront reeling from sudden, deadly violence. Joseph Eckerson with the latest.
Police say at least 11 people were killed when attackers opened fire near a Jewish community event on the popular beach, injuring several others, including 2 officers. 1 gunman was shot dead by police, and a second was arrested and listed in serious condition. Authorities described the scenes as shocking and distressing.
North Korea is again declaring its nuclear arms off limits to negotiation, framing its arsenal as a permanent fixture of its defense posture.
State media reported that officials described the country's nuclear weapons status as irreversible, signaling no plans to scale back or abandon the program. The statement came as Pyongyang continued to emphasize deterrence against perceived external threats. Chris Anderson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
China is accusing U.S. chip giant NVIDIA of breaking competition rules in a past deal.
Regulators in Beijing allege NVIDIA failed to fully comply with conditions tied to its 2020 purchase of an Israeli company. Officials say the acquisition violated elements of China's antitrust law, though they have not yet detailed potential penalties. The case underscores ongoing tensions over control of advanced semiconductor technology and foreign corporate activity inside China. Benjamin Wright reporting.
U.S. commanders are investigating a deadly ambush in Syria that left American service members and a civilian interpreter dead.
Officials say 2 U.S. soldiers and 1 American civilian working as an interpreter were killed when a shooter opened fire during a joint mission with Syrian forces. Military leaders believe the attacker had been operating alongside U.S. and partner troops before turning on. The White House has vowed the United States will respond. Kyle Norris reporting.
Health officials are tracking the early signs of a tough flu season as the first pediatric death from influenza is reported.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed the season's first flu-related child death, underscoring the virus's continued threat. Doctors are urging families to consider vaccination and basic precautions, such as frequent hand washing and staying home when sick. Local clinics and hospitals are preparing for a rise in respiratory illnesses. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Folks, Merry Christmas.
Decorations don't need to be fancy or made by an artist. It's about the memories you make and the thought you put into them.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
It's the point of Christmas, right? Giving?
Dear Santa, Huba said you would enjoy this bourbon and asparagus.
Seems we're all so busy trying to beat the other fellow in making things go faster and look shinier and cost less that Christmas and I are sort of getting lost in the shuffle.
Okay, so there you go. 52 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. Let's continue talking about some things that happened back on this date, because that's kind of what we do around here. So don't worry about that. As I take a look around, and if I take a look, let's see. In 2010, the final episode of TV talk show Larry King Live airs on CNN. That happened back on this date, back in 2010. If we're looking at some celebrity birthdays for today, it goes like this. Billy Gibson turned 76, Benjamin Bratt 62, and Kristen Ritter turns 44 today. That's some birthdays going on inside of the world for you right there. If we're talking about some other things, let's talk about some stuff that you ought to know. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot will be for $80 million. Here are the last night's winning Powerball numbers. 23, 35, 59, 63, 68. Powerball was 2. Power Play was 4. And since there was no jackpot winner, tomorrow's climbs to $1.25 billion. So there you go. Also, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is engaged to her White House reporter and boyfriend Brian Glenn. Glenn posted a picture of the couple at a restaurant yesterday with the caption, "She said yes." The 51-year-old Georgia Republican is shown supporting a large engagement ring, or sporting a large engagement ring. The proposal happened at Joe's Seafood Prime Steakhouse in Stone Crab, the same restaurant where President Trump made his one and only outing to D.C. restaurant earlier this year. That has South Florida roots. The engagement come as Green has been involved in a high-profile political breakup with Trump. So there you go, some stuff to talk about. Also, more than 2/3 of shoppers recently surveyed said that they're struggling with the cost of groceries. In a survey by Swiftly, 68% said that they shopped around, and shoppers said that because of the overall inflation and rising of food costs, they're struggling to pay the grocery bill. So there you go. Also, in some other news, Chief quarterback Patrick Mahomes has undergone surgery after tearing his ACL against the Los Angeles Chargers. He suffered the left knee injury at Kansas City's hopes to reaching the playoffs went up in smoke on Sunday with their loss 16-13. Last night, the Chiefs confirmed that Mahomes has gone under the knife in Dallas with Dr. Dan Cooper performing the surgery. So there you go. And then what else did we got around here? NFL last night, the Steelers beat the Dolphins 28-15. Also, Nick Reiner, the 32-year-old accused of killing his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, is now on suicide watch inside of the Los Angeles County Jail. Reiner was taken into custody and booked by suspicion of murder in connection with the couple's death on Sunday. Authorities confirmed he is being held without bail. So there you go. Also, in some other news, Donald Trump Jr. is officially off the market. The president broke the news himself during Christmas reception at the White House, announcing that his eldest son is engaged to Bettina Anderson. After the fast-moving romance that kicked off just a year ago, Trump Jr. then grabbed the mic, admitted that he was at a loss for words, and thanked Bettina for the most important one in the English language. Yes. He joked that getting down on one knee is always a gamble, no matter who your dad is, and admitted that he wasn't only sure how it would go, but it ended that it worked out. She said yes, the crowd cheered, and Trump Jr. called it a big win for the end of the year. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. What else do we got for you? If you need some weird facts for today, I got some of that for you. Goats have the accent and change their voice sounds that blend with social groups. If you need some wisdom for today, alone we can do little, together we can do so much. Anyways, this is going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here, and that is fine as well on Safety FM, and talk to the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some news or oozers, should I do that, or should I tell you how I'll be over talking about the world of entertainment and music over there on Radio Big if you want to go? If I can leave you with some advice for today, keep a tea kettle filled with mulling spices boiling at all time. This will help keep the air a bit moister and fill your home with a wonderful smell. It'll do tricks for you if you want. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with me on this lovely day. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.